their eyes half open, half dreaming, sinking in and out of feverish visions. The plague creeps through these rooms with a cold, gentle cruelty, choosing its next victim without reason or mercy, moving silently like a living shadow, pressing itself against the walls, slipping through cracks and drifting beneath doorways. The smell inside is a dense mix of sweat, sickness, and wilted flowers placed beside beds by loved ones, who hope that one scent of beauty might soften the stench of dying people. Sit hunched near the sick, holding trembling hands, whispering prayers and promises they know may never be fulfilled. Some trying to soothe their loved ones, others trying to convince themselves that hope still lives somewhere within these walls. Though hope feels thinner with each passing day. In one corner, a mother cradles her child, softly rocking her despite her own fever, her voice cracking as she hums a lullaby that fades into silence as the child coughs weakly. In another corner, an old man sits beside his wife, brushing her hair with shaking fingers, remembering a time when life felt endless and sweet, while now every breath she takes feels like a fleeting miracle. The plague houses are crowded, not just with the living, but also with the memories of those who have already slipped away, their empty pallets left untouched, their blankets folded neatly as if waiting for the return of someone who has been taken by a night that holds no dawn outside the streets, remain alive with fear. Villagers whisper about the plague houses, saying that even the walls tremble with suffering. Some swear they hear voices at night, soft cries, drifting through shuttered windows, carried by winds that seem to mourn for the people trapped inside. Plague doctors move from house to house, their dark robes swaying like long shadows across the ground, their boots tapping softly against the cobblestones, their beaked masks filled with herbs that mask the stench but cannot protect them from the sickness within. Their gloved hands hold staffs that they use not only for balance but also to keep others at a distance, a physical reminder that even compassion must not cross too close to danger. Once inside the plague houses, these doctors walk with slow, heavy steps, their eyes scanning the dim rooms illuminated only by flickering candles and occasional beams of sunlight that slip between wooden boards. The sick watch them with a mixture of fear and hope, because the arrival of a doctor sometimes means help, but often means that the end is near. Healers try everything they can: roots, herbs, hot stones, cold cloths, potions made from crushed flowers, and wine, but nothing truly stops the sickness. Some patients show signs of improvement, taking deeper breaths, sitting up, whispering weak words only to collapse again, their strength vanishing like smoke from a dying flame in the evenings. The plague houses grow eerier, the candles burn lower, the shadows stretch longer, and the groans soften into faint sighs. The survivors gather near windows, trying to breathe the cooler night air, hoping it will ease the tightness in their chests. But the air outside carries its own chills, reminders that danger lurks everywhere and that no one is safe. Priests visit quietly, moving like ghosts through the rooms, offering whispers of prayer, lifting their hands over trembling foreheads, speaking words meant to comfort, but often met with tired, half-hearted nods. Sometimes they pray beside someone who is already too weak to hear them. Sometimes they pray beside someone who has taken their final breath, just moments before dawn breaks slowly over the horizon. But the plague houses do not recognize morning as a blessing. The light simply reveals more faces, pale with fear, more blankets stained with sweat, and more bodies growing colder under thin sheets. The carts creak through the streets early each morning, wooden wheels grinding against stone as men move from house to house, collecting those who did not survive the night. The sound is unmistakable, and every heart inside the plague houses stirs with dread when they hear it. The soft rumble of the cart, the heavy knock on the door, the hushed voices outside, speaking to the caretaker, who must gesture toward the cold forms lying still on their beds. The living bow their heads, whispering names of those being taken away, tears slipping down faces too tired to cry loudly. They cling to memories, hoping that somehow the world outside will remember them too, even though the city tries to move on, pretending that fear has not woven itself into the fabric of every home, every market, and every prayer spoken at dawn. Inside the plague houses, the days blend together. People begin to lose track of time, unable to recall how long they have been breathing the same stale air, listening to the same cries, tracing the same cracks in the walls. Some feel trapped, not just by illness, but by the knowledge that they cannot leave because the world outside fears their presence. Shutters remain closed, doors are sealed with rope, and signs painted in thick strokes warn travelers to turn back before they too become part of the suffering. As hours stretch into days and days into weeks, new faces arrive, weakened survivors barely able to stand, carried by family members who place them gently on straw beds, whispering promises to return, though many never do. The plague housekeepers stay day and night, tending to the sick, wiping brows, bringing water, soothing trembling hands, singing soft songs down long hallways. Though their voices rarely rise louder than a whisper, they too grow weaker with each passing day, their own bodies slowing from exhaustion and exposure, yet they keep moving, unable to abandon the souls depending on them. Sometimes they break down quietly, pressing their faces into their hands as the candles flicker around them. But after a few breaths, they stand again, wiping their tears and continuing the work, because inside these walls there is no room for rest, only the steady march of life toward an uncertain fate. As the weeks pass, the plague begins to show new faces, new symptoms, strange rashes, faint tremors, hallucinations that leave people calling out to long-gone loved ones, reaching toward empty corners, whispering names that no one else hears. Some begin to feel watched by unseen eyes, claiming they sense something lingering in the shadows, something cold that brushes their skin at night. Though when the candles are lifted, nothing stands there, only darkness heavy and endless. The priests claim it is fear, the healers claim it is fever. Yet no one denies that something about the plague feels alive, as if the sickness itself has a presence, a voice, a will inside the plague. Houses this, feeling grows stronger the longer one stays by the second month. The survivors speak in soft tones of spirits, drifting through hallways of cold patches in warm rooms of strange tapping sounds against walls. Though some say it is rats, others claim the pattern is too deliberate, too rhythmic, too purposeful. The idea spreads quietly that the plague does not just kill it, lingers, learning from the living, feeding on fear, growing stronger with each new soul. It takes some nights are so quiet, the entire house seems to hold its breath, only one candle remains burning in the center room, and the flame flickers as if disturbed by an unseen wind. The housekeepers sit awake, listening to every sound, the faint groan of wood, the whisper of cloth, the soft exhale of someone slipping into a deeper fever, and the moments when the silence becomes so complete, begins to feel like a living thing pressing against their ears during the long, slow hours just before dawn. A chill sweeps through the house, as if winter itself has stepped inside. People wrap blankets tighter around their shivering bodies, whispering prayers in trembling voices, even though many have lost faith long ago. On some nights, the silence breaks with sudden cries from the fevered, who scream at visions only. They can see shadows twisting above them, figures beckoning from the doorway, faces of the loved ones lost to the plague, calling their names. The healers try to calm them, wiping their foreheads, speaking softly, but the terror in their eyes shows that whatever they see feels real to them, perhaps more real than the dim candlelit room around them, as 1 hour turns into the next. The plague house becomes a world of its own, detached from the city outside. Every cough, every shiver, every breath becomes part of a melody of suffering, a steady, endless rhythm that stretches through time. Villagers pass by in silence, offering nothing but a quick prayer under their breath before hurrying away, unwilling to linger too close to the door, marked with the sign of death. The fear is so deep that even family members who bring food leave it near the entrance, tapping twice quickly, then stepping back before the caretaker opens the door. The brief exchange of air between inside and outside fills both with dread. Inside, the air grows heavier as the sickness continues its quiet march through the rooms, slowly claiming more of the living, yet not all is despair. In these plague houses, moments of tenderness bloom like tiny, fragile sparks of hope. A young boy holds the hand of his older sister, wiping her tears with the corner of his sleeve, promising her that they will see spring together. Though he does not know if he will live to see tomorrow, an elderly woman shares her last piece of bread with a stranger lying beside her, whispering that kindness must live even when the world feels like it is dying. The housekeepers hum lullabies during the coldest nights, trying to soothe the restless. The priests bless the doorways, each dawn hoping to build invisible walls between the sickness and the survivors. In these small moments, humanity refuses to surrender, clinging to life with trembling hands. Even as the plague looms like a shadow that refuses to leave, at last, after many weeks, a faint shift begins. The fever of some begins to lessen, their breaths deepen. They begin to sit up, their eyes clearing. Slowly, as if waking from a nightmare, though the sickness remains heavy in the air, the survivors feel something change, as if the plague itself has finally grown tired, its hunger slowly fading. The healers begin to move with a new caution, speaking softly to those improving, offering them small sips of broth, adjusting blankets, checking for signs of relapse. Each improvement is treated like a miracle, because inside these walls, miracles are rare. As the final weeks pass, the plague begins to loosen its grip, the cries grow fewer, the air grows calmer, and the nights, though still heavy, no longer feel haunted. The cart that once came daily arrives less often, drifting through the streets, like a ghost of its former self, carrying fewer shrouded forms with each passing dawn inside the plague houses. The survivors begin to gather near windows, waiting for the first day. The doors will open again, the moment when the ropes will be cut and the signs will be removed, when the world outside will finally allow them to step beyond these walls. Once that day arrives, it feels unreal. The doors creak open, the sunlight slips inside like a long-lost friend, touching the tired faces of those who have fought for every breath. They take the survivors, move slowly, blinking against the brightness, smelling fresh air for the first time in weeks, stepping onto streets that feel like the beginning of a new world. They walk past empty houses, past shuttered windows, past the silent gravestones lining the edges of the town, knowing that the world they return to is not the same world they left. The plague has carved itself into their memories, into their lungs, into the history of their towns and villages. Yet as they breathe the open air, they feel something they have not felt in months, a fragile spark of life, a quiet whisper of hope that maybe the world will heal, that maybe spring will come again, that maybe the darkness will finally loosen its grip. But even as they step forward, they know the walls of the plague houses still hold the echoes of every cry, every prayer, every final breath, and that the memory of what lived within those walls will never fully fade, because the plague houses were more than buildings. They were the silent watchers of humanity's darkest hours, and the survivors will carry their story forever in their hearts as they step into a world that now feels both familiar and changed by the shadow of death that once ruled the night.